So today we're going to talk about 7 powerful ways to emotionally detach from a man. Okay, we're going to talk about detaching. So why do we need to talk about this? Because let's face it, endings of a relationship can be incredibly harsh. It could be incredibly emotionally draining. It could even be heartbreaking when you've gone through the ending of a relationship. And so learning to detach from a treasured relationship is a skill, is actually a skill that very few of us were ever taught. Now, given that there's a high probability of relationships ending rather than succeeding, I've been examining my own 4 most significant relationships. And I want to repeat that because I know that doesn't sound very attractive, but there's a high probability that a relationship will end versus succeed. Think of how many people throughout history have gotten married. They fell in love with each other, and yet they went through a divorce. I mean, statistically, they say that's around 50%. But when you add in second and third marriages, it's more like 65 to 70%. And I suspect even those 50% that didn't get divorced, half of those people aren't happy. So when I think of a successful relationship, I'm talking about a relationship where people are happy. So given we have a greater chance of it ending, learning this skill to detach from a treasured relationship is something I think we all have to address. And if you haven't addressed it before, we're going to get into it today. Now, I just shared with you about my own 4 most significant relationships. My first one was my college girlfriend, lasted 2.5 years. And quite frankly, I had my thumb up my ass at that point in my life. I had no clue who I was as a person. So when that relationship ended, because it didn't seem like the person I wanted to marry, I ended it without much recourse from my end. I don't know what it felt like from her end when it ended, but I suspect at a very young age, she was a bit heartbroken. But I don't think it ruined her life because she eventually got married to somebody else. And then I met a woman in my mid to late 20s, and I got married for the first time. And we were married for 12 and a half, 13 years before that relationship ended. And quite frankly, I still had my thumb up my ass. And what I mean by that statement, I was rather clueless as to what it took to be a good husband, to be a good father. I was very self-centric at that point in my life. I was very hyper-focused on being the provider protector. Hence, I wasn't truly present in the relationship. And to some degree, that was the beginning of the end of our relationship happened 2 years after we got married, but it took 10 years to figure that out. So then I am now divorced. And now why am I bringing this up? Because a significant percentage of men that you might be dating in midlife are most likely divorced. Roughly about 75% of singles who are in midlife are most likely divorced. And what happens with divorce is, and I've said this on multiple videos, it's the unraveling of the tapestry of a life you had with another human. And oftentimes this can leave us in a very precarious position, both on an emotional level, on a physical level, and certainly a financial level. And on around the time I went through a divorce, I was also going through challenges in my professional life. I was going challenges in my identity. Now, why I'm bringing this up is this is significant. This is significant for men who are in midlife. There's a reason why it's called midlife crisis. It's where the blueprint of where we thought our life was going to be like collides with our reality. It collides with our reality. So many men experience this. And by the way, women experience this as well. Everything I'm about to share with you today, I'm inviting men to listen to this. I'm inviting women to listen to this. Now, why am I bringing up this, my marriage? Because it led to my next relationship. And I was such a broken man by the time I met this next relationship. And while she helped reparent me, and to some degree, I helped reparent her, there was a mutual benefit to one another for being in a relationship. We still didn't work out. Okay, why am I bringing this up? 3 relationships, significant relationships, they lasted over a year, and yet they didn't work out. The odds are that you're going to have more for lack of a better word, endings or failures. I don't want to call them failures, but we oftentimes see the ending of a relationship as a failure. It simply is an ending. But that leads me into my most significant relationship. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know this relationship. And this one stung. This one hurt. This ending really hurt. And the tools I'm about to share in a few minutes, these 7 powerful ways to emotionally detach, is what I've applied in my own life to get to a place of where I'd like to think I'm relatively complete over the ending and I've detached from this person. Reason why this was harder though for me, and I don't know if you can relate to this, for the first time in my life, I was actually all in, at least as far as I've ever been before in my life. I was all in. I thought this person was the one I was going to go the distance with. And while we did a conscious uncoupling and it makes sense why the relationship ended, it makes total sense why she wanted to end the relationship, and I fully support that choice of her. Emotionally, I was all in. All in. What does that mean, all in? That means for good or for bad, sickness and health, all those wedding vow stuff, I was in. And so there's a certain processing that needs to be done, processing the ending and looking towards your future. And what I highly recommend is, if you're going to do this process, these 7 powerful ways to emotionally detach from a man, then I invite you to seek a trusted confidant, a friend, a therapist, or a coach to process the ending of a relationship. It's very difficult to do this on one's own. I highly recommend inviting someone in your life to help support you in this process of detaching for someone. Because ultimately, and we're going to talk about this, it's not just the detachment, it's also the preparation of someone eventually in your life in the future. So the first thing, powerful way to emotionally detach, is to accept the ending, to accept the ending. Many of you are probably familiar with the stages of grief. And I think while the stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, I think if it's all possible to go straight to acceptance first, accept it, really understand, accept it, then go through the other layers. Now, this is difficult. And yet when you've mastered your emotions, you've mastered your introspection work, I think it's easier to, if you go to acceptance first, then go through the denial period, the anger period, the bargaining period. Well, actually, bargaining in the sense of not bargaining with the other person, but going through that bargaining of yourself, where you go back and revisit the relationship going, what if I could have done something different? See, we oftentimes get stuck in the denial, the anger, the bargaining, or God forbid, depression. But ultimately, to detach, you must accept. And so I invite everyone to actually, if this ever happens for you in the future, is sit with the acceptance first, then go through all the other emotions. Now, I know this is a radical concept, but I'm putting it out there for everyone. And that's what actually happened in my relationship. I went through acceptance first, and then I started to get in denial, and I got angry, and I bargained, and I was feeling depressed, and I've come back to acceptance. And this is not easy. This is easier said than done, but I'm putting it out there. Now, let me just share something with you. A lot of dating coaches, and I've even heard this from other people, the best way to detach from another person is to date someone new. In fact, I was speaking to some men earlier today about this topic, and they said, oh, the best way I detach from someone is sleep with someone new. And I said, that's bullshit, okay? And while it might temporarily work where you date someone else, if you haven't healed from that relationship in the way I'm about to share it with you, you're just going to repeat. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So this idea of date someone else or sleep with someone else, which I'm not recommending for my clientele, I just think is a unhealthy way of approaching this. But a lot of coaches will tell you this. I'm not recommending it. Okay, the second most powerful way, assess what needs were actually missing in your relationship. Assess what needs were actually missing in the relationship. Now, requires being ninja level introspective, is to look at the relationship and not, and to recognize that there was most likely some critical needs that were missing in the relationship, and own that it wasn't a fit. Own that it wasn't a fit. Okay? If it's not right for one person, it's not right for both. Oh, this is part of that acceptance piece, but in particular, assess what needs were missing in the relationship. And ladies and gentlemen, you have every right to be in a relationship with someone who wants to actively meet your needs. If you're in by the way, that's not being needy. Okay. Yesterday in my video, I mentioned I'm very needy. I am a reformed anxious attacher, but I recognize when I said I'm needy, it's no, I have needs in relationship and I have every right to make requests for those needs. You have every right to make a request for your needs. Particularly, many women have a strong need for emotional closeness with a man. If he's unable to be emotionally close to you, then he's fucking just a roommate that you have sex with at some point. Is that the kind of relationship you want? You're more than welcome to have a traditional type of relationship where it's a roommate you have sex with, but I'm here to encourage more partnership-based relationship where your needs are actually met and you have every right to ask for your needs, okay? So assess what needs we're missing and own that it's okay to have those needs. Number 3, I invite you to ask yourself, what positive things about yourself did you learn in this relationship? What positive things about yourself did you learn in this relationship? As I shared with you my most significant relationship I ended, you know what the most positive thing I learned in this relationship? I was capable of going all in. I wasn't in my 3 previous relationships. I mean, to some degree, I went all in marriage, but I really wasn't all in emotionally. I was all in that provider protector role. Okay. Because that was the role that was taught to me. This is the role that's been ingrained by biology and caveman and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't really the recipe for relationship success, is to be hyper focused on being a provider protector. I was missing the emotional aspect of what it means to be in relationship with someone. But for the first time in my life, I went all in. So ask yourself, I'm using me as an example, but I invite you to ask yourself, what positive things about yourself did you learn in this relationship? That's number 3. Number 4, how have I healed my childhood or adult wounds from this relationship? How have I healed my childhood wounds or adult wounds in this relationship? A moment ago, I talked about needs. What I healed in my most significant relationship is I'm not needy, even though I jokingly said that in the video the other day. I have valid needs, and I seek a partner who wants to meet me in those needs, just like I want to meet a partner in their needs. And so having a need is absolutely okay. As I said before, ladies, having a need like closeness or reciprocity in relationship is something. Now, in my particular case, I feel as though I healed it by making requests for my needs and they weren't met. Okay. But I recognize that that was one of the failings of the relationship in this particular case. And I suspect there were needs that she had that I wasn't able to meet. But healing is the recognition of what wound did you have going in before the relationship, and were you able to heal that wound? In other words, are you able to express boundaries? That's probably one of the most predominant areas of of where people, I don't want to say fail, but they neglect in their life is setting boundaries. And my hope is that you have healed that particular piece, and that is expressing your needs and wants. Because what a boundary simply is what's okay and what's not okay for me, according to Brene Brown. Okay. Number 5. Again, this is a powerful way to emotionally detach, and I highly recommend this, is to evaluate what was good about the relationship. What was good? It's okay to visit the good. Now, some of you might be saying, oh my God, Jonathan, I was in a relationship with a narcissist. None of it was good. You spent 15 years of a relationship and none of it was good? I find that hard to believe. I'm inviting everyone to look at what was good, but most importantly, what are you most grateful for in the relationship? It's kind of, the questions are two sides of the same, or the one side of the coin and the other side of the coin. But when you can actually sit in gratitude, and the gratitude might be the positive things you learned about yourself, the gratitude might be the healing from your childhood wounds and adult traumas. When you can sit in a state of gratitude for this previous relationship, no matter how, I mean, look, if you had to call a doctor, an attorney, or a policeman, I get it. It's going to be really hard to find that. But not every relationship did you have to call a doctor, an attorney, or a policeman. But find what was good and what are you most grateful for. Number 6. I want to invite everyone to hold this belief and to remember that there is an awesome future ahead of you. There is an awesome future ahead of you. There is an awesome future ahead of you. Remember, you have a future and you will find love. If you can actually sit in a space, okay, look, I hope it happens. I hope it happens. I hope it happens. Okay, that's good. I believe it'll happen. I believe it'll happen. I believe it'll happen. Okay, that's better. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. When it's kind of like build it, they will come. When you actually sit in a space of knowing that you can actually have beautiful love in your life in the future, that will help you detach from the man. When you can actually own that that is an absolute possibility. If you fear a future with anyone else, if you don't believe it's going to happen, if you're jaded, bitter, angry, then you're still giving that other person your power. And he or she doesn't deserve your power. You have the capacity to dictate your life. This is one of the reasons why, ladies, I always say, you are in charge of your relationship destiny. But Jonathan, men are supposed to lead relationships. Men are hunters. They're chasers. They're supposed to do all the leading. Yeah, if that was so fucking great, why are relationships so damn dysfunctional? Why do you want to give the job to another human being? You are in charge of your relationship destiny. There is an awesome future ahead of you. That is number 6. And number 7, how will you choose your future? How will you choose your future? Are you going to do it differently? Are you going to do it consciously? Are you going to do it intentionally? Are you going to choose going forward, basically vetting for compatibility in the future? Or are you going to do the old-fashioned way of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? I'm here to invite everybody to begin vetting people in a more conscious way. In a few moments, I'm going to share something personal about this. But if you need some support with that, check out the link right here to a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's links below. My whole area of expertise is helping you vet, to be more intentional, to be more conscious, to be less ambivalent. See, most people dating today aren't very serious. They're not very serious in their dating capacity because we've adopted the belief that chemistry equals relationship success. And if that was so fucking true, but Jonathan, you just said another dirty word. If that was so true, then why do we see so many endings of relationship? Love doesn't seem to be the glue that keeps it together. What really keeps a relationship together? Shared values, shared vision, blendable lifestyles, and most importantly, emotional maturity and relationship skills. Those are the key components for relationship success. And I'm inviting everyone to do some work in this area so you can choose your future. How will you choose your future is number 7. Because when you can get to this place, and I'll be candid with you, since I shared publicly, I feel like I'm just stepping into number 7. How am I going to choose my future? How am I going to approach the process differently? See, a lot of dating coaches will tell you to just randomly date, go on one date a week. Do you know how fucking exhausting that is to talk to, half a dozen people, weed it down to one, go on a date, and then not have it work out. And then next week, talk to a half a dozen people, go on a date and not have that work out, and talk to a half a dozen people, narrow it down to one and not go out. Does anyone get my point? Do you realize how exhausting that is? Would you rather go out on one date in 6 months with someone you have an 80% chance of success with, or going out on 26 dates and still being single? I'm just of the belief that if we do a better job of vetting early on and we get better at choosing, we put our odds forever in our favor, as they said in Hunger Games. May the odds forever be in your favor. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. If it is, post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all this. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos as well. And if you want to connect with me, in the show notes and in the first comment, schedule a discovery call with me. Join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Get all the books I recommend. I forgot to recommend my book, which is right behind me. You can see it. What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. All the links below to get the books I recommend, get my dating vows, and all that good stuff. All right. Those who know my format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there. It's my son who passed away over 5 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process and Insight Institute, just to name a few, and also scholarships to coaching as well. Again, so right. By the way, our goal today is $50. We'd really appreciate some love. So again, post the word question there. Now, speaking of vetting or being intentional, I have a personal share with you. So some of you know that I've put myself back on the dating app since my relationship ended, which is now 8 months ago, roughly 8 months ago it ended. Now, I'll be candid with you, in 8 months, I have not gone on one date. I'm certainly looking at the dating apps. I've communicated with a few people, but I have not gone on one date. This isn't being picky. I'm being selective on who I want to engage with. Okay. And by the way, ladies, I've gone on what feels like 10,000 dates in my life. I don't need to go on one date a week to figure this out. See, the key component for relationship success is know thyself. Know thyself. So why I'm sharing this with you is I have a story to tell you. So there was this woman on a dating profile a month and a half ago. I looked at her profile. She looked at mine. I looked at her. She looked at mine. I looked at her. She looked at mine. I looked at hers. This went on for like 3 weeks. You could, by the way, in one of the apps, it tells you when exactly they looked at your profile. Now, the reason why I looked at her profile was I was attracted to the photographs and a couple things that she checked a few boxes, but there were 3 primary boxes she did not check for me. So I decided to write her an email, sharing with her. I said, look, we've been looking at each other's profiles. Let me tell you why I've been, reluctant to reach out to you. And I listed the 3 areas where I thought primary differences. 1 was politics, 2 was religion, and 3 was location. And so I wrote out a very detailed email. Okay. Very heady, very heavy. Okay. Now, what's interesting was she didn't respond. 1 day goes by, 2 goes day, 4 days go by, 10 days go by. She doesn't respond. Okay. And I thought, Jonathan, that was too heady, too heavy for her. Well, she finally responded and said, I've given more thought to what you said, and I'd like to address what you said. And I asked her, I said, well, let me ask you a question. What made you change your mind to reach out to me? And this is what she wrote. Okay. This is what she wrote. First, I realized that you were asked what you'd asked are key pillars of anyone's life, and you were approaching dating and relationships in a very serious and intentional way. I find that most men are not very serious. They're kind of flaky. And so this totally shocked me. It was unusual. Also, the 3 things that you were exploring, especially spirituality and where I live, is something I've been recently thinking about a lot. In a very unexpected way, you summarize things that were important to me. And she goes on to say, my point is at least I got her to think whether something's gonna happen of this or not. I don't know yet. But by the way, this just happened literally in the last 48 hours. Why I'm sharing this with you, know thyself and who's really a fit in your life. And for me, personal development is like one of the highest things on my list. Spirituality is one of the highest things on my list. A person that has political ideologies far right or far left, it's like I don't want to be in relationship with that person. That's like sandpaper to me. That's like fingernails on a chalkboard. It's just, that's where I'm at. If you're on one end or the other end, it's better to be with that person that meets you at that end. By the way, I happen to be in the middle. I can't stand any politician. If you want to know where I stand. And certainly location is critically important because I want someone who has the capacity to spend time in a relationship. So my point is, I know myself and I asked these questions and it was a turnoff for her. But isn't it fascinating that she realized eventually the value in those questions, that it was actually demonstrating that unlike all the other men that's, hi, how's it going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Wow, you look pretty. You look nice. You look great in that bathing suit. Can I send you my dick pic? You know, I'm actually serious about this. And she recognized that. And again, that doesn't mean that this is alignment by any stretch of the means, but it's it's in the important stuff to be like, I'm aware how I choose is not going to be this haphazardly, dialing for dollars approach like many of my contemporaries will invite you to do. I'm just not a big advocate for that. When you know yourself, when you truly know yourself, then it's okay to ask those deeper questions. Only, let me just say this, a closed-minded person is turned off by deeper questions. But Jonathan, I expect to be romanced. Men are supposed to romance me. It's supposed to be sexy and romance. It should be all about fun. It shouldn't be heady in the beginning. Folks, you are more than welcome to do it your way. I am not suggesting anything. I'm only suggesting what I'm doing for myself. You take it or leave it. If you want to go back to an old-fashioned way that doesn't seem to be working for 99 out of 100 people anyway, feel free to do it that way. I'm inviting vetting before the honeymoon stage. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know. By the way, if anyone wants to join the hot seat, I would love to have a conversation with someone. I just posted a link below. Really quickly, I want to give some props to Margaret for the $15 super sticker. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Let's keep going here. I want to give Beach Lover some props for the $10 super sticker. That means we're $25 away from our goal of $50 tonight. Is provider protector the man's version of female caregiving? Is provider protector the man's version of female caregiving? Well, I think to some degree, providing, protecting is a nurturing, is another way of nurturing a relationship. Yeah. It's about nurturing the relationship. In caveman times, it was to protect against the dinosaurs and the neighboring tribes, and the providing was hunting for the food. And women were caregivers for the children and caregivers to their men. So to some degree, I think it is a nurturing function um, within the relationship of itself. Yes, I would agree with that. But tribal living, providing protecting was really more from a tribe base. It's very different, even though we are instinctually inclined to that. It was best served in a tribe. Now we're tribes of one or two. It's kind of hard to be all things, to be all that, because it puts a lot of pressure. Okay. Margaret goes on to say, no, Joe, Jonathan, know thyself, ancient wisdom, but so true. Exactly. All right, let's keep going here. Thanks for the love. Cosmic Glow Up says, slay, Jonathan. I'm slaying it. Thank you. Gigi's in the house. I connected with someone on Millionaire Match. His online location is Virginia. He texted, we need to meet. I agreed. Then he said he was in Florida until mid-April. Does that sound legit? Actually, people that are more affluent oftentimes live in two places. This I see frequently. People that have multiple homes, people now that it could be a ploy too, but I would say to you, I would listen, here's how I operate in those games. Hey, great. Whenever you're in town, let me know. We can talk and we can have coffee. Don't get into incessant communication with someone who lives far away unless you can meet rather quickly. So is it legit? Possibly. But certainly if it's, but it could be a waste of your time. And I've witnessed this. Oh my God, I've witnessed this so much. You ladies and men get into these incessant communications with people. And then by the time you eventually meet, it implodes. It's just a clusterfuck because you built what's known as artificial intimacy with someone. And I'm just not a big proponent of that. So thanks for bringing that up. Jess44 wants to remind us, I needed to know someone's political views, morals, and values first. I'm an advocate for that. The dating profiles give you, by the way, again, if you see someone's dating profile and there's a misalignment, but you're still interested in the person, ask it up front. This woman was turned off by my heady question, but she eventually realized the value of it. It gnawed on her for 35 days. It was sitting in her head because grown-up dating is so foreign to most human beings, grown-up dating. You know, it's interesting. I have another share with all of you in a moment. Well, let me get to Wanda's question. Do you think that new security selfie video Facebook is doing on dating site will get rid of the scammers and will be safer, less love bombers? They will take it seriously. The new security selfie video Facebook is doing. I don't know enough about it to really comment on it. I'm going to have to do some research, but I'm not fully aware of it. Okay. So just to share that with you. Roller Girl wants to acknowledge she was awakened by you. Yeah, I feel like I did awaken her, which was good. Okay, let's keep going. There's somebody's birthday. We're going to wish her a happy birthday. Okay, listen, I want to make a comment with everyone. It's interesting how many dating advice channels and videos hyper focus on helping you avoid the wrong person. Okay, they're just hyper focused. I mean, because you know, like and basically dump the wrong person. Okay. When you're with the wrong person, dump the wrong person. Then they spend a lot of time with that. Linda, I'll get to you in a second. Okay. But you know what's fascinating me? Very few dating coaches help you avoid the wrong date before you go on the wrong date. Like, how many dating coaches are actually helping you figure out who to go on a date with before you, like the right person? They know how to tell you how to dump the wrong person. We're all great at telling you how to dump the wrong person, but how many of them really help you choose the right person to go on a first date with? I just want to sit with that for a moment. This is why I'm a big proponent of vetting, so you can determine if it even makes sense to see one and then allow chemistry to ignite the relationship. Believe it or not, eHarmony actually has the right idea. eHarmony is they have critically 200, 300 critical questions to determine compatibility. When two compatible people meet, and they go on a date, they have a greater chance for success. They have a greater chance for success than those that are misaligned and then meet. Okay. All right, Linda, we're going to start with you in just a second. So get in front of the screen. All right, folks, we have someone on the hot seat. Linda is in the house.
Okay, I hesitated to do this because I'm having a really bad hair day.
Oh my God. Oh, right. By the way, folks.
Straighten my hair before I got on.
Okay. Before you start speaking, I have a confession to make. I didn't know this was you, Linda. Okay. So, folks, 3 days ago, I was having drinks with a friend of mine at a local restaurant that had a fire pit outside. We were sitting having an afternoon drink, and in walks in Linda with a gentleman. And I've never met Linda before, but she states to me, and I quote, "Are you that guy on YouTube that talks about dating advice? Is your name Jonathan?"
I remember your name.
Yeah, no, you said, "And is your name Jonathan?" Well, I mean, I think you prefaced it first by saying, "Are you dating, relationship coach?" Yeah. And I said, "Yes, that's me." And you said, "I'm on a second date with a man I met on Bumble." And so what I proceeded to do is stand up for Linda as her big brother. I stood up for her as her big brother. And I said to, is his name Robert or Richard?
Robert.
Robert. Yeah. I said, dude, I'm Linda's big brother. What are your intentions with my little sister? There are consequences for bad behavior. And then I proceeded to recommend to both of them that they buy the book 8 Dates by Drs. John and Julie Gottman. Yeah. Right there.
Yeah.
And really quickly, from what I understand, he ordered the book. So with that said, everybody, I got recognized out in public. My ego loved it. I'm going to own, I have an ego. I'm not a perfect human being by any stretch. Okay. So Linda, what do you got for us?
Okay. I hope it's okay if I say this. Okay. Here's my problem in making the right decision regarding dates, because I'm embarrassed to say how many dates I've been on. I've been on a lot of dates. Okay. In the past,
by the way, you're in good company. So, a lot of us have been on a lot of
well over 100. Okay. So here's the problem. You know, like, I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Okay. Some of the things, you know. So like, the guy I was on the date with is very, very nice. Just super nice.
Yeah.
Okay. But I tend to be attracted, and this may be a flaw on my part, to men who are a little masculine, you know, that are, you know, decisive, masculine, make the plans, you know, take action, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of those guys end up being assholes or narcissists, right? Including my ex-husband.
Yeah.
But, you know, this guy is very nice, but on our first date, he took himself off of the Bumble app.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, okay, I'm taking myself off the app." And I went, "You don't expect me to do that?" You know, I was like, that to me was a red flag. It was good that he was ready to commit to just dating me. I wasn't ready to commit.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know you have more to share, so I want to make sure that you cover all the things, okay? So, I actually believe that's a gigantic green flag, but let me explain why, okay? So the idea that it's a red flag is, oh, he's overly attached and he barely knows me. That's the perception of the red flag, that he's overly attached, but he doesn't know me well enough. But I want to offer you an alternate perspective, because I do the same thing when I like somebody.
Okay.
I should have mentioned this in my Funny Ways Men Like You video yesterday. I should have mentioned this. It just occurred to me right now. I don't like the distraction of the dating sites. Like, if I meet someone and I like them, I don't want to get that next notification and that next notification and that next notification. And then I get tempted into the, oh, well, maybe there's someone better. Oh, well, you know what? This girl is, you know, like, she lives 2 miles closer, or she's 10 pounds thinner, or whatever. I'm just saying.
Paradox of choice. The paradox of choice.
So I believe that, and by the way, women do the same thing. It's like, oh, you know, like, you're trying to if you're trying to keep your options open, then you actually aren't giving enough attention to that person in the here and now. I know a lot of female dating coaches will tell women to date 3 men at a time. It's called duty dating. It's called circular dating. Keep your options open because you don't want to get attached to the wrong person. Well, that's a half backwards way of approaching it. If you have a problem getting getting attached to the wrong person, then stop dating the wrong person. Dating multiple people isn't going to heal that.
Right, but I don't have enough information to know yet.
I get that. But my point is, let's come back to his action. He said, I'm going to take myself. Now, he didn't have to tell you this, okay? But he could have still done it. Now, first off, it's Bumble, so you would never know that he was off. I think he can deactivate or hide his profile without you knowing about it, type of thing. Okay. But I'm going to offer that maybe, and now it could be that he's overly attached to you, but is that really a bad thing? Ladies, you guys now, Linda, I'm speaking to everyone. You guys complain about men not being attached enough. I'm like, I will take a needy person over an avoidant person every fucking day of the week and twice on Sunday. Okay. I'd rather have a needy person because you can temper them, but it's so fucking hard to get an avoidant person, an emotionally unavailable person, an emotionally constipated person to actually open up to their emotions. It's much easier to tame the stallion than to try to get it to move, kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that's addressing number one. What's number two?
Number two is indecisiveness. Okay, well, here's one of the things. I'm a practicing Buddhist of 50 years. So I have a daily, very disciplined practice every day, which I've done a lot of soul searching on. And I have a therapist, a consistent therapist. She's pretty good for about 4 years. Okay. So ever since my divorce, I've had a therapist, and, I have an employee assistance program. My job covers most of it. So I do have advice.
By the way, you're going down a wrong train track. Let's come back to indecisive.
So here's the issue.
Not a wrong train track. I just wasn't tracking you.
Style is something that I've really worked on developing, changing that attachment style to a secure attachment style.
Okay.
However, what I noticed was indecisiveness, kind of a little lack of masculinity, I understand. And here's another thing. He told me a lot about his background over the phone. Dysfunctional father, 14-year divorce because of a mean ex father-in-law that was just a brutal attorney. And, so there's some baggage, and everybody at our age comes in with baggage. Yeah. I'm just hoping they come in with a carry-on and not a duffel bag. And I expect some baggage. I also looked at.
Wait, time out. Now we're getting into a different realm. I want to address the indecisiveness or lack of masculinity. Okay. So, do you want to know the truth about me? I'm a terrible planner. I'm terrible at planning shit. I'm just not good at it. It's just not been my strength. I'm just not a good planner, right? Okay. And ideally, I realized that my ideal woman in my life is a woman who's a social director. So I'm not a good planner, and I can be indecisive. But if I'm with a good social director, I'm a great follower. So instead of looking at this from the perspective of a weakness, maybe since you're the Buddhist, you're evolved, like you already look like you're a woman. By the way, you've got the potential of being the social director, and he's trainable. Like that's a blessing, not a curse.
Well, and my tendency is if you don't make a decision, I'm going to step in and make it.
Yeah, and by the way,
it
doesn't make me weak or unmasculine. I'm just not good at it. Okay. Now, part of it is I don't know what you like yet. So you met him on a second date. He doesn't know you well enough. When you actually get to know someone after a while, you know their idiosyncrasies, you notice their patterns. You can start anticipating. But I'm rather apprehensive because I don't know what you like. And we men want to please. But then when you say, well, it's your job to know, just knowingly take charge. Well, we'd like to know what you'd like.
Questions like, what do you like? Do you like sushi or Italian? Things like that.
Well, you see, but that's not indecisive or lack masculinity. That's being considerate. That's a better human being. Okay. So Now, here's the thing. I would, at our age, let's just say, I would encourage you to take a gentleman over a rough riding man. Okay. And what I mean to say is, the do-it-yourselfer can get it done and lift mountains and all that stuff. If they're still at that energy state in midlife, it's a lot different than a gentle, kind man. The man you met, or the man I met that evening, seemed like a really good man. Okay. Now, I know a good man isn't sexy, but here's how you turn it around. Are you open to hearing how to turn it around?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be crude when I say this, so don't be offended, but you guys have to fuck, because when you have sex, it could change the entire dynamic. Great sex will make you see this man in a whole different way. Now, I'm not suggesting it yet, but I will tell you this. Now, if the sex sucks, then you already have your decision right then and there. But it's like the movie The Revenge of the Nerds, right? Did you see the movie Revenge of the Nerds?
A long time ago, yeah.
Okay. The nerd ended up with the best looking cheerleader, okay, because he was great in bed. I think great sex can change your perspective substantially. Now, again, I'm not suggesting get into bed right away, but you know what? If you have a good man with a good heart, he pays his bills on time, he's got his act together. Yes, he has some baggage from his past, but if he's willing to own it, identify it, and work on it, that's a blessing too. If you share similar values, you have a kind of similar vision in life, he's emotionally mature, then I would give that guy a chance, even though he may seem a little less masculine than you like. Because let's face it, the brawny, Marlboro man isn't necessarily the best guy. Let's put it this way. James Bond is the worst man to be in relationship with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. What else do you have for me?
Okay. Let's see. Well, I did accept another date.
Okay.
Somebody who's more decisive.
Have you kissed him yet?
The new date? Oh, the guy from the UK? Which guy? Robert?
Wait, time out. I lost track. So the guy you met the other night, are you seeing him again?
Yeah, I'm going to give it another chance.
Okay. But you have a different date with somebody else. Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide, like, I need to like narrow things down and just be more selective. And I think probably what I need to do, I think you've already answered part of it with the dating situation you were talking about in your own experience, maybe just asking more questions before the date.
Yeah.
I might tell me whether
I'm a big proponent. That's what I teach in my private coaching. There's a link right here for everyone to see. So my whole philosophy is know thyself, know who you are and what is in alignment for you. And then when you see someone's dating profile and you go, I'm attracted to photographs, I like this, this, and this, but this one, I'm like, no, that's not my jam. Well, then ask more questions about that, because it might be that could be a deal breaker versus a red flag. I mean, again, what we described earlier about his dating profile, you saw it as a red flag because you saw it one way. I offered an alternate way of looking at it as a gigantic green flag. You don't know what it is. For me, I don't like the distraction, because I have enough time in my life to date one person at a time. When I say I have enough time in my life, there's already a bus coming around. There's a bus that comes by where I live every 15 minutes. If I miss one, I'll catch the next one. And the right person, is worth devoting, at least to me, one at a time. Have you kissed the man I saw you with?
Yes, but not French, just a little kiss.
Okay. Well, then you need to kiss. I mean, that's the precursor to the, but I want to encourage you to give him a chance. I know he doesn't fit, but you know what? He seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah, he's nice.
But just remember, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same stupid thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Well, we don't have to characterize it as stupid. Okay. We don't want to necessarily self-deprecate ourselves.
Over again and expecting a different.
So maybe just like George Costanza and Seinfeld, you're going to do the opposite of what you want, because maybe you'll start achieving what you want in the future.
Okay. All right.
Has
I'll
this
try.
been of help?
Yeah, actually, a lot of help, especially since you actually met the guy. So,
Yeah, I'm giving him my, remember I said it's a thumbs up. I liked him.
okay.
I have a good feeling about him. Look, he could be a, I don't think he's going to be a serial killer. I mean, he could be
No, he doesn't seem like
dysfunctional.
a jerk.
No.
He seems like a nice. Yeah.
But I certainly would, if he liked you and you like him, or you like him, listen, was there a little bit of a spark?
More on the first date than the second.
Okay.
But
Did you feel comfortable around him? Or
yeah,
did you feel all right? In other words, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel
I
safe?
felt
Do you feel
comfortable.
open and
If anything,
receptive?
I felt like I was intimidating to him, but I
Okay.
felt
So that's your projection on your part. That's a projection. You don't know what he's feeling unless he's told you what he's feeling. Did you have fun with him?
yeah.
Could you see him one more time with a little bit of enthusiasm?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, well then give it another shot. You'd be surprised. I've known women that like it said he wasn't my type, and they're deeply madly in love and they fuck all the time. So by the way, I know I'm offending people with the F word. It's just for effect, okay?
No, it's okay. Not me. Yeah.
All right, Linda. Well, thanks for being
We'll see
on.
what happens. I'll let you know.
Okay. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Linda just brought up a great conversation for us, is that when we find ourselves in a dynamic where we're just not like the guy isn't it, we're not feeling it. There's an old adage, if you put a frog in a boiling pot of water, it's going to jump out immediately. But if you put a frog in lukewarm water and turn up the heat, it'll actually boil. And I think relationships to some degree are in that same genre, is that if we have just a little bit, it's just warm enough to keep that frog in the water, so to speak. And we begin to turn up the heat. Now, just recognize most guys are clueless. Okay, most guys are clueless. They're winging it. They're actually rather clueless. Most men don't have game. Okay. And what I suspect about this guy, he doesn't have game, but that doesn't mean he might not be a fantastic partner. And that's why I invite Linda to give the guy a chance, because I saw him personally when I met him. I felt like he was a good guy, and I think she should give him a chance. So let's hope that she does. And we'd like to hear from you, Linda, to keep us posted, okay? Giving you a big hug of appreciation. Thanks for jumping on and sharing with us. Okay. We have time for a few more questions. Gigi says, Sherry says, we can train them. I commit fluoride as well. I don't know what the fluoride is. Let's keep going here. Do we have any questions in the house? Well, you know what, folks? Jess says, the Zaza is now a bad sign to me. LOL, safety and comfort, no spark is what I'm looking for now. You know what? So I think that's a great, this is a really tricky aspect of dating. When two people have a strong spark, they're more apt to explore a relationship. The tricky part is when there's little spark or little to no spark. And the question is, does that have the potential of taking off? Because what if gigantic sparks, off the charts sparks are not really an indicator of relationship success? See, I've continually said chemistry and attraction is not the indicator of success. Success comes with shared values, shared vision, blendable lifestyles, and most importantly, emotional maturity. So, I don't think spark even of itself, again, that's why so long as you felt safe with that person, which means a little bit of spark, you feel all right, you feel comfortable, there's fun, and you feel you can have a little bit of enthusiasm, that's better than expecting gigantic. That's just my 2 cents on that. Connie wants to know, why are so many women attracted to jerks? I guess, why are so many men attracted to bitches? Okay. So if women are attracted to bad boys and jerks, men are attracted to bitches. Why? because we have childhood wounds or adult traumas, and we have not learned how to experience healthy love. See, Linda, in the particular case, you know, she's a Buddhist. She's done a lot of work on herself, but I wonder if she's ever experienced true healthy love. True healthy love is calm. You know, it's not the excitement kind of love. It's the, you know, it's not the agitation, the anxiety. True successful love is calm. You feel comfortable. You feel all right. You feel, you know, limerence. You feel, I'm trying to think of a calm, C-A-L, what's M? You feel, it feels memorable. That's calm. Comfortable, all right. Comfortable, all right. Limerence and, oh, what was the M I just said? Memorable. That's the kind of relationships. Wouldn't it be great if we could just experience that? Of course, we want to have that spark, particularly in the bedroom. That's why I said, maybe you don't know, this guy might look like the nerd on the outside, but he just might be the best lover, like the Revenge of the Nerds. Anyways, I'm just putting it out there. Wait, someone, Laurel just posted, you cannot, wait, hold on. My new dating motto, you cannot put a crown on a clown and call him a king. You know, you can, but you can put a crown on a pauper and make him a king. And what I mean to say is, sometimes, you know, the Prince Charming might have seemed like the most, by the way, have you ever seen the movie Happily Never After? It's a great story. Happily Never After. It's where Prince Charming was an absolute buffoon, and his valet, who was a pauper, a poor person, ends up with Cinderella at the end, because Prince Charming could be just a jackass, a jerk, a buffoon. But sometimes that pauper that doesn't, you know, the poor person in the room actually might have the greatest chance for relationship success, because he actually genuinely cares about you at a heart-centered level. That's at least what I'm inviting everyone to consider. All right. Hey, you know what? Did you find value in this conversation? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. Someone says, I'm missing a question. Oh, by the way, check out all the links below to schedule a discovery call with me. I don't see a question. Anyway, oh, Trista said, on the flip side, what you say if he took himself off the dating apps prior to your first date? Again, I don't like if I'm interested in someone, sometimes I don't even like the distraction before a date. Do you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to come back to this. It's like crack cocaine. You know, the dating apps, do you know the dating apps were designed to keep us addicted? It's the dopamine hit. Oh, somebody likes me. Oh, somebody looked at me. Somebody checked out my profile. It's that dopamine hit, and we're addicted to it. And so if I'm going to meet someone for the first time, I actually like to take a tiny 12-hour break from the dating app so I can actually be fully attentive. And then when a date doesn't work out, I go immediately back on the apps. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Anyway, I hope you got a sense of what I was talking about there. Folks, I hope you found value in this video. Please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and check out and hit that notification bell. Also, check out the links to schedule a discovery call with me. Check out my group called Midlife Love Mastery. Check out where to get all the books I recommend. Check out my dating vows, all listed below and in the first comment. And we're going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, or pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Jess, who says loyalty is very important to men, especially nowadays. I agree with Jonathan. Julie says, Jonathan, too chaotic, having a bunch of dates one at a time. It certainly feels a lot better to me. I don't feel the need to be talking to 20 women all at once. I so appreciate your insights, is what Connie says. I took myself off before a date. Way to go. All right. I want to thank everyone who donated. Beach Lover and Margaret, thank you so much for the love. Sending you lots of hugs. Wishing you a super duper wonderful, fantastic day. Have a great evening. You be well, everyone. Bye now. Bye.